Mr. President, Honourable High Representative, the EU has recently invested significantly in improving relations between Armenia and Azerbaijan, including several bilateral meetings with the Prime Minister of Armenia and President of Azerbaijan, hosted by the Council President Michel. At the latest such meeting, merely a month ago in Brussels, both sides agreed to start working on a draft peace treaty within a month. 2 weeks later, Azerbaijan launched a large-scale military attack against Armenian territory. A few days ago, a sickening video emerged on Azerbaijani social media which seems to show the execution of Armenian prisoners. High Representative, which consequences will you recommend to draw for the EU's further engagement in the region? What concrete steps should you, your office and External Action Services take? And finally, how can the EU's new energy partnership with Azerbaijan be put to use for the EU's engagement in favour of a sustainable, long-term settlement on the conflict? Thank you.
Honourable High Representative, may I ask you to give answer?
Gracias, señora.
Thank you very much to the honourable member. Obviously, anything we do has to reflect reality. And Azerbaijan, of course, has bombarded areas which are well into the interior of Armenia. They've been using artillery as well as drones, and we're not seeing a continuation of hostilities over a disputed area. Rather, we're seeing incursions into Armenian territory. Now, the two countries blame each other for the breaking of the ceasefire, but the fact of the matter is that Azerbaijan has bombarded and occupied part of Armenia's territory in this region. So I would really refer you to the remarks I made in response to the last member. What else can we do? We can't do much more than we're already doing. We only have certain capacities available to us. And I would be delighted if you would share with me any ideas you have as to what more we might be doing. But I can assure you that we work tirelessly day in and day out to try and diffuse the situation, and we have met with authorities at the highest level from both countries. We have organised meetings between them, and we are encouraging them to directly embark on peace negotiations. And we are also working to liberate those territories in which landmines are causing many, many victims. We have all these contacts and much more. We're also calling for an investigation to try and ascertain exactly what happened. These videos which show soldiers executing prisoners of war. And the Azeris themselves have said that they are going to launch an investigation. We're also trying to get the Border Commission to meet in Brussels before the end of this month. And it's by no means easy, but the Commission has to map the borders, and certainly we are sparing no diplomatic efforts, and we are mobilizing all the resources at our disposal. We have suggested that there be an EU mediation mission and that we deploy to the border. Armenia agrees, Azerbaijan doesn't. What more do you want us to do? We're not going to be sending EU troops without the agreement of both parties. I mean, certainly not. Would you not agree?
Would you like to ask supplementary question? If not, then it would be very okay, but you have a right currently.
Thank you, High Representative. Yes, I have a couple of ideas. No time to explain them. But I'd like to come to the strategic partnership agreement memorandum that was signed with Azerbaijan. Many argue that the gas deal stands in defiance of the EU's climate goals and human rights standards. High Representative, I will be grateful for your assessment of that deal. Thank you.
Honourable High Representative, would you like to respond on supplementary question?
Sí, si se refiere.
Yes, you're referring to the deal with Azerbaijan to increase the gas supply. Yes, indeed, Azerbaijan is giving us, or rather selling us, gas. I mean, given the state of the gas market these days, it is supplying billions of cubic meters of gas to Europe. And thanks to this year's agreement, we will see a substantial increase from 8 to 12. So this will be a 50% increase, therefore, in the volumes being supplied. And there have been no political concessions made when it comes to the conflict as a quid pro quo. I can assure you that the EU, indeed the President of the Commission, personally went to Azerbaijan to negotiate this agreement, which will make it possible for all Europeans to have the energy supplies that they so badly need this winter. This will be the southern gas corridor, so not all Europeans will be supplied with this gas, but those that do get the gas will be most satisfied. And I can assure you this energy agreement does not work to the detriment of human rights or indeed the various democratic issues which have cropped up in the country.
Thank you very much. Next question, Nathalie Loiseau, Renew. Floor is yours.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Thank you, President. Well, to call things incorrectly would be only make things worse in the world, according to Camus. High Representative, Vice President, we have seen that there hasn't been clear language used as to what's happening in the South Caucasus. What we have seen since the 13th of September, Azerbaijan has entered by force onto the internationally recognized area of Armenia. This military aggression happened just a few days after Aliyev's meeting with the Prime Minister under the auspices of Jean-Michel. Now, both had reaffirmed at the time that they would be committed to negotiated peace. So we have seen that this is not just an aggression against Armenia, but it's also humiliation for the European Union, not maintaining the commitments that were made before the President of the Council. The Europe will not be able to become greater if it is being treated with mistrust. Now, we need Azerbaijan to be a trustworthy partner, and we know that your special envoy is no more credible when we saw that there were execution of prisoners and the Azerbaijani soldiers. When we see, High Representative, what can you tell us about this particular scenario? Thank you.
Sorry, please.
En efecto, señora.
Indeed, honorable member, what took place there could be qualified in many ways, and it could also be described in many other ways. What we can see is that what is happening is extremely sad. There's some 300 soldiers who are dead. 207 specifically are Armenian. What we know, and this is absolutely clear, the artillery and the use of drones bombed areas that were within the Armenian territory, destroying civilian infrastructure. And we know that there are some occupied areas occupied by the Azerbaijanis in Armenia. Now, this is absolutely unacceptable. the troops are currently occupying areas within Armenia. This does not respect the internationally recognized borders. The forces are so close that there is a risk of new conflict. It's essentially inevitable. For this reason, once the two leaders met and they had ensured the President of the Council that they were committed to an agreement and that there would be a cessation of hostility. So this is clearly not the best possible way to inspire our trust in the diplomatic efforts that are being carried out by the President of the Council. Now, I am sure that the President of the Commission was not referring to this precisely, but was referring to the fact that Azerbaijan would fulfill its agreement on gas. So one thing does not take away from the other. Now, what we know is that at this time we have a real problem of trust of the political dialogue that was initiated. Our current arguments would go through requesting a withdrawal of those troops that are currently fighting within the context of the internationally recognized borders. Now, we know that this will not be an easy task. We understand also that we are in our current in a situation of border demarcation where we can see that there is an immediate area of confrontation amongst the two countries. Therefore, we hope that the Border Commission will undertake its efforts yet again in just a few weeks' time in Brussels to be able to avoid situations of this sort.
Would you like to ask a supplementary question? But I really encourage colleagues not to do it, otherwise I have to, because we are in a time limits, but okay, your floor is yours.
L'agression de l'Azerbaïdjan.
Azerbaijani aggression on Armenia is much like Russia's aggression of Ukraine. And Moscow, indeed, is overhauling the world order, and Russia is weakened in Ukraine and therefore is not in a position to protect Armenia, what it was already doing with great difficulty. We cannot stand back and watch Armenia aggressed by its neighbor, and we must go directly there to make sure that we come up with a definitive establishment of the border, as well as the freeing of all of the prisoners and with a full documentation of all war crimes. We defend the same principles both in Kiev and Yerevan. Would you agree to that, High Representative?
Merci, Madame la députée, pour vos encouragements.
Thank you very much for your encouragement. Indeed, I am very much mobilized in all of the areas that you've made mention of. The objectives that are yours are ours. All that you have made mention of, we are trying to achieve with more or less success. And you are correct. Russia invade Ukraine, and well, if this is to be condoned, then why wouldn't another do that? And that is why we are opposed to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and hence what we are doing with a concerted effort to achieve the objectives that you very well